Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
With specifying the essentially diameter at breast height, the size of a tree that we would not be touching, and then updating that second parcel. But the main thing is updating that parcel information to include the Minard's Pond parcel. I sent along a photo. We got 3 kind of respect the trail signs that we included. But 3 up on the existing Oakville trails that we had talked about to kind of preemptively try to ward off any issues that we might have between, a mixed use trail. The only signs that exist include horses. It's a triangle of horses, so we have that, but it's the best fit that we could find without like needing to do our own sign design there. I know that one question that came up, I'm not sure, Scott, if you had time to look at, was just that some concern about, the recreation. Miners Pond, and
we checked it with watershed protection and any concern in terms of any kind of other statute concerns, and there's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, just the attorney said, as long as it's in, the basic format, like we had in the agreement, there's no real improvement that would create any concern with the watershed issues.
So that's, my short update. I know you can't really probably ask a lot of questions without having the agreement in front of you. And, we're in no rush being winter, so I'm happy to kind of provide the update.
We have the 29 agreement, so we'll basically have a new updated agreement that Connor sent along, and we'll make sure that we have this plus his map for you for your next meeting, so you can take a look at it.
You guys were in the paper recently, something about Brattleboro, was that Brattleboro area trail? Twin Trails was mentioned.
Oh, well, that's very good. It might be, so tomorrow there's that, the walk, bike, pedestrian committee, at the library that we'll be presenting at. Yeah. So I think, other than that, I'm happy to come back at the next meeting. If there are, but yeah, if there's any questions on that.
Any questions, Jen?
That's great.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, so we'll get that updated and add that on for the next agenda. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. That'll move us on to the water project update. A is the sole source contract. What, I don't know, the DN tank. I think that's the
That's the name of
provider.
the company.
Yeah. the
So
provider,
they're the superseding company. So they did not, they had a different name when they put the original tank in back in 79. So they also did the repair work in 2006. So this is really a continuation of that relationship. If you remember, we looked at our asset management plan and we went through what it would cost potentially based on the replacement cost of replacing the tank. And again, these were the 2021 numbers from the engineer's report. It was going to be roughly almost 700,000 to replace that tank. If we do this updated cleaning and crack sealing and treatment, it will be approximately $175,000. So we'll be saving substantial amounts of money. And based on the last time we did this work, these repairs are lasting anywhere from 10 to 15 years. So it certainly buys us enough useful life to where I think it makes sense for us to go forward with that. They did send us a proposal, so the price is locked in. The other thing we did is review all of their confined space protocols, because this does involve draining the tank, having work being done inside with various applications of chemical, and then ultimately refilling the tank. So we wanted to make sure that our fire department was comfortable that everything was up to speed. Certainly these are not, these are hazardous kinds of situations when you have that, somebody working in that kind of confined space. So at this point, everything is pretty well reviewed and up to date. So the sole source request is just so that we can maintain our financial policies. because again, to go out to other contractors, this is a limited type of work. And there really aren't any other, I reached out to the Water Association and other organizations in the state to say, are there any other contractors even available to do this work? And they couldn't give me any additional contacts of somebody to even send the proposals to, just to see if they were interested. So,
You need a motion from us to sole source this item.
Yes.
From this company. Okay, would have someone like to make that motion? As opposed to going out to bid for to whom you don't know even,
right.
other than DN.
I'll make the motion. I'd like to make the motion that we authorize the municipal manager for sole source procurement of DN tank for renovations of the Griswold water tanks,
Griswold Drive storage tank.
storage tanks.
We need a second for that.
You want to put the money?
Do you want, what,
Well, let's do the sole source and then we can do a second.
For the finance
resolution
piece.
for the amount. Right.
okay, so a second for this one, please.
Second.
Okay, further discussion on this, please. I know it's out of the norm, but this is a specialized item, so it makes sense that we're not gonna have a lot of options. If hearing no further any further discussion, please, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, we have just a source request. All right, now second the piece on the money. You want to make a motion for that, Jigs?
Yeah, that we move that we authorize the municipal manager to enter into a contract with, is it TN
It's D and thanks.
tanks to renovate the existing Griswold Hill storage tank in the amount not to exceed $175,000.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
Do you need any more wiggle room? Is that good?
No, that's their proposal, so
Okay.
their agreement is pretty standard, so. it'd be
Any
not to
further
exceed.
discussion then?
So just a quick question on this agreement, on the
Yes.
agreement, is this is like a standard boilerplate thing?
Yes,
Has anybody reviewed it? Other than,
I did not send it to the attorney for any feedback, so.
my only thought was, I know that, VLCT, not me, but others up there, will actually review this for us for no charge, just to make sure it's
We can certainly do that before we sign it. You want to
Just
just
to make sure
authorize
I-
me to sign it, and then we can,
meet all the,
Yeah,
I can send it to the municipal assistance folks, I can take a look at it.
yeah.
that sounds like a good idea. Thanks. All right then, so wait, in that case, we need to do before we go off on the money or what?
I don't think so.
Well, I think if you make the motion just so that I will make sure to run it by them
Run it
first.
by
and
them,
then
Before we
if
actually make the
If
first.
it's agreeable to form, then I'm authorized to sign it.
All
So,
right, any further discussion on this? Motion. All right then, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Nope, okay, and thank you for your helpful suggestion here. Wait, that's important. All right, the second piece is the Kissel Hill water main.
so this was also an item that we had talked about previously with the state revolving fund. So this is drinking water, state revolving fund money. So it's a 50% grant. There are requirements in order to qualify for I'm just gonna use the acronym because it's too much to keep saying, the DWSRF money. You have to at least go out and have a potential 5-year loan. Now, you can pay the loan off, so you don't have to take the borrowing and pay off the interest. But in order to secure the grant funding, they want you to have a 5-year agreement. If you agree to a 5-year loan, you don't have to go for a full public authorization. You have the ability to authorize the 5-year note. So the question is, and we can bring it back for your next meeting, it doesn't have to be done until the end of the month, is if we want to qualify for the grant, we have to at least authorize through board resolution, a 5-year note in the amount of the 650,000, which is half of the $1.2 million engineer's estimate for the
So-
replacement.
The grant's for 650 and we have to kick in 650.
Correct.
And even if we turn around and immediately pay it off.
Correct.
Further
I
discussion
think,
on
I
that?
think we should do it.
This is one of the last sections of our distribution system that has that reinforced asbestos concrete pipe. So it's not the greatest material. It needs to be abandoned and, you know, we'll put something in place, obviously, that will not be a
We realize
concern.
that. We don't have to go to the public, so if we just go ahead and do
If
this.
we did a full 20-year bond authorization, we would have to go out
Yeah.
and do it as an item for public input.
Any further discussion? We'd like to put the motion on the floor. Want to do that, Jake?
Yeah, I move that we authorize the municipal manager to seek loan funds of $650,000 in order to provide our share of the work on the Kissel Hill Water Main replacement project.
Okay, and it's seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing nothing, we're good to go.
Now, what's this stuff about having a vote? That's if we,
If we had gone
Wanted to
to a
go-
regular 20-year or 30-year bond, we would have to have done a full warning, public notice.
And that's where that final paragraph or whatever would.
That just came out of an email from the conversation with the,
So if we
State
had, if
folks.
we had to do that, then we have to go to the public and it has to be before May 1, so we have to wind up attaching ourselves to the select board
Correct.
annual, the town annual meeting.
right,
which
yeah.
could be done, but it just generates all sorts of,
Yeah, additional hassles.
correct.
Okay, so we've eliminated that. All right, I do it this way.
Yep.
Number 2 on the agenda is public safety. The first one being the fire response reimbursement ordinance reimbursement rates are here.
So we, originally, the board looked at the updating the ordinance so that the VF fire response would be reimbursable in certain instances. So you've started that process. This is the second phase of that, and that is what we would actually ask for in terms of reimbursement. These are the same rates that we just updated at the town.
Okay.
They were updated in 2019, but for some reason they never got filed. So the rates were approved in 2019, but when I went back to Kathleen's records, they were never attached to the update of the
Oh.
ordinance.
Okay,
So we updated the town ordinance, so that's now updated. This will now update. Once we finalize the village ordinance, we'll have the same rates.
what's the disposable equipment piece? Is that like, PPE and stuff like that?
Well, it depends if things are contaminated, things like the gloves, things
Yeah.
like, there are some
Like
items.
hazardous materials like pads and containment boards and
They
stuff
have
like that.
soaking, they have stuff
Yeah.
like that kitty litter that soaks up material on the
Yep.
roads and.
So that's all of that kind of
Right.
stuff. Okay. Any further discussion on this? Do we need to pass a motion for, apparently we need us all to sign it,
Yes,
so we need a motion for that. If someone would like to.
Now, is this an exhibit to the,
it will be an attachment to the
Attachment.
ordinance, so it will be
To the
filed.
ordinance, okay.
Correct. So that way, when there's a billing, we'll be able to point back and it also then gives us,
It's pretty minor, like the A after Bellows Falls needs to be removed.
Bellows Balsa. Balsa.
where's
False on
Bella's
fire.
Falls? There is a- Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
Bella's
right.
Falls, a new town.
Well, they're all caps, so you don't notice it, yeah.
Wow. That's a fantastic. Become an Italian, little Italian villa.
Yeah, Balsa, we're Balsa.
Bella's Falls. Well, outstanding. I've looked at this probably 30 times and never noticed.
I just noticed that when I was reading.
Yeah.
Falls.
All right, well, I apologize for that. Oh, man.
I think it's good that this is in there.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And of course, our doing this actually helps the town get theirs in line and do all the things that they need to do too, so.
It was a helpful process to go through. It
Yeah.
created an update that needed to happen. Yeah.
Would anyone like to make the motion for us to sign this document?
I'll make the motion to sign the Bellows Falls Fire Services reimbursement ordinance, service reimbursement rates dated 1/10/23.
I'll second that.
Okay, further discussion at all? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any negative? None? Oh, we're good. So now, which copy you want to sign? The one I have?
Yes, that'd be great.
Be fine, I'll pass it around.
And then I'll make sure you get that file, so thank you.
You don't mind if I write my whole name on it, yeah?
No. You can be from Bellows Falls, from Bellows Falls, wherever you want to be from.
Can I be presidenta?
You can be El Presidente, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah,
wanna be.
yeah. Just make it multinational.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so that's gonna go around and I'll pass it back this way and then wait if you would when you're done, sign, give to Scott. Second item is the ambulance update.
Yeah, so there are a couple things with this is we are still talking to providers about what options might be available. I think it was somewhat confusing. We still have an existing arrangement with Golden Cross. We're still talking to another provider, Rescue Inc., about service. The issue, like all issues, and the reason why the RFP was a problem is to try to continue to staff 2 ambulances seems to be a real problem. And the staffing issues, and we talked about mutual aid and how much mutual aid is occurring and how we're not happy or satisfied with that. So we're working on some alternatives still. We may or may not need at some point to do an interim or a bridge kind of arrangement. And if we do, and we need some space in the fire house, we will come back and talk to this board about some sort of accommodation for that. So, nothing is happening at the moment. Nothing will happen until we have that conversation. So the talks are ongoing. I just want to make sure that people aren't upset in terms of, we will have ambulance coverages. We will not be left without ambulance coverages. And, like most communities, everyone's concerned about the long-term future here of trying to maintain adequate service for not just, Rockingham and Bellows Falls, but all of our southern Vermont area. As you guys read the papers, you can see some of the challenges. So we're looking at hopefully some regional solutions maybe that might help us all. But those are going to take some time to work through, and like any regional kind of discussion, it tends to become more expensive as we get into that. So we will certainly let you know.
All right, we move on to proposed 2023 budget schedule. We have a copy of that in our
So I
packet.
put some dates together, and we can certainly, these aren't set in stone, so I just wanted to put it out there just for a couple of reasons. Certainly for planning purposes, I know a lot of times, especially that time of the year, people are potentially going away or looking for warm weather retreats at some various points in time. So I wanted to make sure that people had these dates and understood where the calendar was. I think the important ones that we really, and again, they can be moved around, but the auditor's report to kick off the process is important because I think it gives us a pretty good indication as to where we're starting from. So you get a sense of, result of operations from last year, where we stand with things like our fund balances and some of the key drivers of what we might want to be going forward. ARPA, which Deb has asked me on a couple of occasions, should we have a separate conversation about ARPA? And I can certainly put that on the next agenda if the board at least wants to have a preliminary conversation and start talking about projects before the 14th. I did not list out anything specific. There are some things that came up through our public process, and there are some other things that we're working on. So I think we could certainly add that to your agenda for the 24th.
I would be happy with that.
And that at least would start a conversation and give us more time to
As we
work
move
on
through the
issues
process.
that the board might be interested in.
Mhm.
And then the other items, again, pretty much follow the schedule. The important things are making sure we get the warning and articles and adopt the budget by the 28th. And then make sure that we have everything else falling in line. So we have the village report available, our informational meeting, and then the village election. So those are sort of the key milestones.
Because we did finally get it settled that we are voting the budget by ballot. Is that correct? On the following Tuesday? Or we still do it on the floor? I can't remember what we wound up with at the end.
think it's by ballot, isn't
I think it went back to the floor. No,
Think about-
well, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
see, now we need to go back and review that,
I don't
whether it's on the
remember which
floor.
one was
So
which.
consider that for the next meeting. Where are we?
Double check, I believe,
I think, because we went, we
Right.
thought we did the right thing and then we got told that was wrong. So we
Right.
thought we did it again. So I don't know. We need to be straight.
I'll go through that with Kevin. make
Yeah,
sure that we know.
Let's not,
But
blow the budget period and then have to do another vote.
I know it
Later on.
was decided, but I don't remember.
I know.
What it
You get
was.
done with it, you go, "Phew, okay, we're done with that. Next year. I mean,
yeah, I
so
don't,
there's that. It might be back to the floor again. I know there were a couple people who were passionate about keeping it on the floor, as opposed to
Right.
the ballot. So I don't know how we ended.
I believe the floor won.
Okay.
I believe it did too.
Yeah,
All right, let's
I
see.
think
Was
you're
on
right.
the village and the town?
Yeah, that's just it. There's two.
It seemed
so.
to me that there was one we were still doing at the ballot box, one we were gonna be back in person.
Yeah, so,
it? That would be like us.
Yeah,
yeah, it'd be like us to do it, not do it together.
I'm pretty sure that the village meeting, we did a vote here
We did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
and it passed to do it back on the floor.
okay. well,
okay.
Some clarity by the next meeting would be good.
We'll double check,
Great.
yeah.
Yeah, and for those in the public who will be picking this up or watching it later, if you're attending an annual meeting by Zoom, you will not be able to vote. So we have that, the fluster last year, that is the ruling from the Secretary of State. There will be no voting by Zoom. So just making sure people are aware again as we start the process again. Do you know when letters and reports and all this stuff have to be in? I only asked that because I had to do an annual report again
For what?
for as the village president for the
village
booklets.
report.
before they go off, before they go off to print.
I don't do that.
Oh,
I think we'll have the draft usually by,
But they want them available by 4:15,
Right.
so.
okay,
so we usually by the time you adopt the warning and the articles, most of our other stuff is in line. We just
So
have to add
okay,
the.
so probably by the end of March.
So usually we ask for it by the middle of March, just to have some wiggle room. And then
I do,
You guys
Okay.
approve the final stuff on the 28th, and then we send it right, we approve it and have it printed right after that, so.
one of the comments I do remember last year was, there was a few citizens who I wouldn't say complained, but mentioned that they didn't have, the reports weren't available till just a couple days before.
Yes, shortly
Like
before.
the day or two before the meeting.
It was late from the printers, I recall.
The village report, I don't think was there 10 days beforehand. I
Yeah,
think it was more like less than a week or
Less than a
5
week.
days.
yeah.
And
because
I
of
think the
printing
holdup
issues,
was
so.
the audit was still not 100%,
Oh, yeah,
which was
yeah.
another concern. We ended
Yeah.
up inserting the audit. So that's why we're doing the audit early. If you notice, we put that on for.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
So we
early
expect
February.
to have the audit by February 14th.
That's his, right. He's gonna report out to us, and then it should be basically.
Yeah,
after
things
that
should be a lot
complete.
calmer this year than last.
You know,
Jeez.
So this schedule, actually for 5:15, it should say village meeting.
right, I'll have to revise it based on. if we're not
Because
gonna
if the
do-
16th is a Tuesday.
That's the voting.
That's voting, that'll be the voting day. if that's The case, yeah. I wanted to just put it out there that anyone who wants any input on the cover, because I know that there have been, previously the village trustees selected the cover picture and that sort of thing. So if anyone has any input, the sooner you get it to Scott, the better for selection of choices or whatever, because there's always topic issues, whether it's a building, whether it's, it's a person, some scene of the village, a drone picture, whatever. But, if you have, and the dedication, as a matter of fact, that's the other piece. Who do we dedicate it to this year? Those are all things we should think of sooner than later. Yeah. Right, so we good with the schedule at this point? We don't need a Saturday meeting.
This point, I don't believe so.
It should work.
Okay,
Yeah, so,
Good.
and I'll work with Kathleen and make sure that we're straight on our.
all the dates and
Yes.
when, and what we're actually doing, yeah.
Yep.
If it's on the floor, it's on the floor. Okay. Item number 4 is the North Westminster District 5 follow-up.
So we have a little bit of good news, not completely good news, but we did get a payment of 23,000, so
We did.
we did. So we're not up to date, but we're not as far behind as we were, and we are still, the village attorney is sending a letter for collection for the balance. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Oh, so the letter he was going to send the last time we talked didn't go out yet. And
No.
he sent us money, so now it's revised.
He has spoken to some folks, so I told them it was coming, so I think that was at least motivating.
Yeah, well done.
And hopefully we'll see the rest come hopefully shortly.
Good,
If not, we'll be talking about next steps.
excellent.
Oh, that's terrific. It's headway. And after we finally get paid, then we're gonna do revisit the agreement.
I think once we're up to, collected up to speed, I think, yes, we'll have to go and talk about how we wanna,
Moving forward on that.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, number 5 is an appointment to steering committee for Atkinson and School Street. We have a
So
letter in here.
you remember Wyndham Regional is gonna be working on the project management for that scoping project. So we have grant funds. And so what we're doing is creating a steering committee of folks who are gonna work on just the pieces of information so that we can do the full presentation to come back to the town, the village, and also the school, so that everybody has some chance for input. So I just need one person to represent the village on the steering committee. So I was hoping we could get a nomination. So the official name of this, and the Transportation Alternatives School Street Extension Intersection Scoping Study Steering Committee.
So does that turn into an acronym?
It probably does. I don't even want to know what it is. I think it comes out to Bellows Falls or something, but anyway, so,
So who has a burning urge to be on this committee?
yes.
That's what we need.
Burning urge.
Well, I just say, I have the most ATSA experience, highway administration stuff, but that I'm aware of.
We will try to
Hard.
keep the time involvement reasonable.
But, no, I'm saying, does anybody else want to do that? Say,
So-
Uh,
no?
No.
Do you wanna? I mean, can you make, we don't even know when the meeting is. This one.
We haven't even started really, right? We're still
So
trying to get
nothing's
the
happening
committee
at this
together.
point.
Do you have a sense of what's involved and what the time frame is?
Well, we'll probably have to have some public information meetings, right? So you're gonna have a couple of those, and then there'll be some engineering that'll be done,
Mhm.
that'll look at alternatives, and then they'll come back and probably have another presentation of alternatives, and then they'll have a final.
And will they be, and work would probably be scheduled for the summer when there's nobody in the zone?
Well, no, they'll probably start doing some of the actual, I'm guessing we'll do some of this, traffic counting and some of the pedestrian counting and stuff in the spring when the weather's nicer. Work through the summer, have a presentation in the fall when everybody's
Oh,
back,
I see.
try to finalize it so that we have some ability to, if there's recommendations that require additional funding, we would then go after, some transportation alternative grant money to see if we could do implementation of what the recommendations are. So that's sort of the timing.
So, yay or nay?
hey,
Wade,
No,
Jakes,
hey,
thanks, it's me. Okay,
well, this is part of your expertise.
it is part of my expertise, it is, but, I was thinking, you've got Central Elementary or WNESU, maybe it just should be Andy Haas, if he can make the meeting, because he's the administrator.
Yeah. I just don't know how much he has, in terms of time, and also, I know the principals of some of those folks have more direct knowledge of how, pick up and drop off works and
Sure.
the patterns of the school more so than maybe the superintendent, not the.
Oh, it's true, but who has the expertise in those two schools? And say, for instance, between the middle school and on the SU board,
Right.
it's probably gonna, again, we want to kick it back to me as far as most experience, but,
You might end up taking multiple spots.
no, because it won't be there after March 6th.
Well, that's true.
So we'll see, but,
Okay.
yeah, I depending on how frequency of meetings, Andy might be able to make them or Zoom in them or something like that.
Yeah, I'll talk to them and see.
Cass knows that intersection well.
Yes, he does, but it didn't ask for a citizen. He does.
You have a direct line.
I do. So we'll have those. I'm sure there'll be some lively discussions at my house about this. So I think we need a motion.
I move to appoint
What, did you have a
Deborah
question?
Wright as our representative to the,
Jump right in there.
to the, whatever that.
Whatever that-
acronym is.
Steering committee member.
Steering committee.
Steering committee, that's good enough, yeah. Second,
Second.
was there discussion? Do you have something to say?
I was
Wayne?
just gonna ask, what, just thinking about this list, why there was nobody from the police department?
Yeah, that's true. It should
We
be-
won't have them on the steering committee, they'll be involved,
They will?
Okay.
but I didn't want to put them on for all of the
Okay,
other aspects of it.
All right.
We will definitely have them involved,
Give
yeah,
their input, yeah.
yes.
All right,
okay. Okay, good. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
I abstain. It's still passed. All right,
Congratulations.
yeah, just another hat to wear.
Resonated.
Sure, my husband's listening to it, goes, God, another meeting.
Like I said, we'll try to keep it reasonable, because I know it's a lot.
Well, there'll be work done in between the sessions,
Right.
so, the accounts and stuff. Then we're on to financials. And the list is on here too, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is on.
I've got a few things.
Okay.
The, first of all, I want to thank Alyssa for the balance sheets.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yes, I know you would ask that the last meeting,
Mhm.
so.
Well, particularly for the two funds, as we get to it, you'll see that we're right around break even. No cash, no loan for the sewer fund,
Mhm.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
which is progress.
We're making
yes,
progress.
that's true.
And we've got over $1 million in the water fund, which is why we're talking about the tank and the
Mhm.
Kissel Hill project being funded with those funds. On the revenue for the general fund, of page 1 of 7. It looks like, by this time, it would seem as though the parking permits have been pretty well issued. And it seems like we're quite a bit below what our budget was. We were a little bit below last year.
Yeah.
But are we having a parking problem? I mean, I hope the police are ticketing.
We have been
overnight
ticketing, because I've
parking.
been getting some complaints about enforcement.
I mean, I'm still selling them. I think we sold 2 this week.
Yeah,
But the best way to sell them is to ticket the
Right.
I've seen tons
The
of
cars.
cars out there.
Once we really get snow
Yeah.
though is when they'll realize that.
I know, there
Yeah.
have been quite a few tickets, and we try to give people warnings, and unfortunately, some folks are,
don't care.
I guess, yeah, at some point.
Yeah,
But I'll check that to see what our numbers look like, Jakes, because I think we are down a bit.
people are not supposed to park on the streets at night, so that should encourage them to get a $40 ticket, to get a pet permit and get themselves into the lots,
Right.
but yeah, as Scott has said, I've heard too, complaints that there are people parking in there at night who are not permitted. So
The other revenue issue that shows up is our estimated revenue from police activities
So, yeah,
is lagging. And, again, we just talked about parking fines, it would appear this would be picking up with
Mhm.
these. But
Well,
anyway, just as we're approaching budget season, I think it's important
we'll
to.
take a hard look at that. I guess one thing I can say about that is we did just have an oral board last week, and we had 4 candidates, 2 that look pretty, that are gonna go forward for full-time, and 2 that are candidates for part-time, and
Oh,
2
awesome.
full-time already through the academy are all qualified, so that they'd be able to get on a calendar and a schedule right away. So we're processing that, which would, I think, help tremendously. I think some of the activity some of the problems, we just don't have the numbers.
Yeah.
So we're working that through right now. I'm hopeful that those will help.
before we move from there, though, I would like to say that when we do budgeting, we should probably lower our expectations on this piece, on this section of the
Yeah.
budget.
I'll sit down with the
Simply
chief. We'll
because
take a hard
we're
look at
counting
that.
it as 62,000 towards the budget, and reality is it's right now only 26, and maybe it'll be 40 by the end of the year.
We get some revenue from the state, and I know we file for that periodically. It doesn't
Yeah.
come in on a regular basis.
Right, no.
And I
Well, the
don't
same thing
know.
goes with the fines that get paid, the money coming from the judicial board.
Right.
Is that quick.
Right, there's a lag, and
Yeah.
sometimes there's a significant lag. It's, yeah, not consistent.
And of course, the rental housing regulation fee was totally, should have been left off, because we're nowhere there yet.
Yeah,
We're not sure.
The registration yet for the
Right.
inspections didn't happen, and is still in process. Ordinance committee is meeting next Tuesday, excuse me, next Wednesday, to get that work going again. So, go on, Jake.
Okay, on page 2, page 3, I'm sorry, was the next thing I had. It's down, you just past the halfway mark down, it's the employee benefits account. You know, whether it's, health insurance, you look at the health insurance and the insurance incentives, and we're at over 70%. We're halfway through the year. The dental insurance and the life insurance were over budget for the year. I'm assuming that's a one-time premium. And although Beamer's looks to be okay here, as we go to the other 2 accounts, we'll see Beamer's or other accounts, we'll see Beamer's is quite a bit above what we budgeted, so
Take
anyway,
a hard look at those. accounts.
so I think we need to get some clarification there.
Yep. we'll dig into it.
Beamer tells us what the rate is, isn't that how it works?
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always a guess, it's
Yeah.
always a guess, but
And of course, with health insurance, that goes from January through December instead of fiscal year. Their fiscal year, which is different.
So can I talk about that a minute? So the FICA and the VEMR's, they happen with every pay. But all of the others are done on a quarterly basis. So those will get one more, well, where are we? One more. They'll get one more entry into this. So I don't think like health insurance, I don't think that will go over, because if we're at 75% and I have one more entry to do.
So dental and life will go up again. 'cause you have to-
They will go, those will go over, and I guess I just didn't budget enough for those. I didn't do the calculation properly.
The insurance incentive, is that, looks like it's gonna run over. You don't think so?
It's only at 72%, so if you do it by quarters, we got one more quarter, so it should be okay, hopefully.
now what do we miss up on the FICA too, or? That's at 80%.
80%.
Yeah.
It might.
Did they change?
Yeah, I'll
that?
look at the sheet that I used to do those figures and just make sure that I don't have a calculation messed up or something in there when we do the next budget.
Okay. All right, then the next one is at the bottom. Apparently, we're paying $650 to the chamber, and we only budgeted
I know.
600, so
Yeah.
we'll have to pick that up on our budget to.
Get what, 550 next year?
Yeah.
Make an adjustment. Yeah.
Okay. Then on page 4, kind of the middle of the page under public safety, the janitorial services, what's surprising here is that we apparently didn't budget something.
Yeah.
Right? I thought we did it for the building,
Well,
this
that's
is the
where
building,
we-
yeah.
It is the building,
It
yeah.
is the building.
but we've been paying for the police station to be clean, like forever. And
Forever.
Yeah, so why we didn't have any money in the line, I thought we did.
so we just missed it, I guess, huh?
I don't have a good reason for that other than we just missed it.
Well, still not over budget in that section, so. There's that.
We had a contract on that? Well, we're at 71%.
Contract on what?
We
Who's the contractor? Is that
It's part of what Don,
Don does? Yeah.
part of his agreement with town hall buildings, and facilities, but I'll double check to see why. I'm not sure why we didn't put it in there.
Yeah, I thought sure we budgeted for it, but.
Yeah,
but anyway,
yeah,
that-
somehow.
It's not so much the amount, it's just the. fact
There
that we
wasn't a
budgeted
budget
for
line,
it.
yeah.
And the expenditures, that's, I don't think we're gonna go over budget on that, but most of the work's been done, I guess. Is that the,
Oh, repair the
Here's the
maintenance?
I'm not aware of anything significant.
PDFD repairs and maintenance?
Right, there's
yeah.
only like $1,000.
We had put some additional monies in, if you remember, for some of the gutters and also for potentially fixing their lift, but those are. in a-
Okay, so we
those are separate
probably will
applications.
go over budget on that.
Well, they haven't been, those transfers had not been, are not in there, so,
But we don't really transfer, we just go
we just go over.
over.
But we had
Right,
talked
and
So
about,
there are some things that,
we had talked about those in
Yeah.
previous meetings, they're just
Yes.
not reflected, that activity is not reflected.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause we approved like an additional 50,000.
Right.
Remember?
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
So
Or
you'll-
whatever
you'll-
it was,
You'll
yeah.
see some of that go over for sure.
yeah.
And then at the year end, we'll adjust out.
I think it was 70,000 and we put it in the special fund to hold that spot. So if we do go over, we can move it into this budget line or into the revenue so that it won't, if we go way over.
Yeah, that's in a separate fund, is it, Alyssa?
Yes, yep, it's in a separate fund.
Yeah, that's what we should use it for.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, then the first pension one is at the bottom of that page.
Oh, yeah.
Now the pension one, that's the one where, that's for retired employees. And those we don't really know what we're gonna get hit with, but is this the full year, Alyssa? This is the line that shows a $9,000 budget and a 9,600.
So that's under fire.
Yep.
That's
Yeah, I
under-
think I paid it.
Is that it for the year?
I do believe it is. And that, yeah, you're right. It fluctuates because of once they do the actuarial and who's still collecting and all that.
Okay. But the good news is that's the annual number.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't have anything on the next page.
All right, that's fine. The wrong line.
You got pension again on 6.
What's that?
Pension again on
Yes.
6.
Yeah,
What page you on now?
6.
Okay.
But again, that's the annual one.
Right.
And you try to guess it as best you can.
Mhm.
But under the police equipment, I'm sure you all saw on the warrant, the $13,680 to transfer.
You have to do all the.
Equipment from
the
one-
That was insane. The price has really gone skyrocketed.
Well, by the time you do all your, now you've got all these in-car cameras that'll have to go through a wiring process. You've got all of the communications equipment that goes through wiring. You've got all of the,
All that technology.
safety and, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's expensive.
No,
So, and that's basically just to reinstall
Right.
all the stuff. It's not really equipment, is
And
it?
a couple things we couldn't do, because of
Okay.
course, when they change the year, sometimes like the cage that fits in the vehicle.
Yeah.
They change the interior, the cages don't fit,
Yeah, that's
Okay.
which
right.
is what
Yeah.
happened
So
this
there's some-
time. They changed the layout of the interior and the damn cage didn't fit. So
And then you need cage.
then you have to buy a new cage.
Mhm.
It's that kind of thing that is, they don't keep it consistent. Model year to model year.
That's all I have on
on general fund?
Now, on
Now
on
water.
page 1 of 2,
Oh.
which is water, the balance sheet,
Yeah,
you'll see the due from is at 1.467 million.
mhm,
So obviously, funding the two items that we had, which is 650 and 175,
Yeah.
is gonna come right from this,
Mhm.
now that, the way it'll show is that it'll show we're way over budget
Yeah.
on the financials, and then it'll pay down the fund balance
I just wanted to check,
and the cash.
I wanted to check on this page, that the unbilled AR is just the other half of the year we don't have in the water, is that it? Is that what that means? Under receivables,
The 260.
$260,000.
It usually is our second.
It's our second billing, which doesn't go out yet.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, I thought that's what it was, just want to share.
And you'll also see a change on the grants receivable too, once we do the Kissel Hill project, that will
Yes.
change as well.
Now, here's on the water fund, what this, on the revenue, the Northwest Minister interest grant or something. What, do we actually receive that?
Yeah, what is that?
No, we don't. That was, I think that was a carryover mistake. Because I think there was a grant at one time that paid the interest off of one of the loans. And that didn't carry to this year.
So that should have been zero.
Right.
So again, we should check that on lower budgeting.
Mhm.
Okay. You'll see again at the bottom of that page, the under employee retirement,
Mhm.
we budgeted 8,500 and we got hit with 11,453, so that's,
What's the difference between employee retirement and pension? Shouldn't it be the same word?
well, the retirement is the people that are retired.
Right?
The Beamers is for
No,
the employee.
but previously in the general fund it says pension instead of employee retirement. I'm just saying,
Oh, okay,
perhaps they should all say one or the other, just for
Yeah.
consistency.
Is it different for under?
Don't,
unless it's.
you still have your old system, remember, you still have some people in that.
Oh,
pension plan.
yes,
But then
now
we
I
call
get it.
that pension.
It's
and
a
then we
di- it's
call
a different-
Beamer- Right.
It's a different,
Right.
retirement system.
But on this, right under that employee retirement, you got Beamers,
Yes,
Right.
That's for the currently employed people.
right?
I can rename that. That's easy to do.
You just want to call that pension, just so it's consistent.
Yeah, I can just change it.
Yeah, and then Beamer's obviously.
I mean, internally, what you do with the two different.
Right.
different
What
retirements
they
is up to
represent
you.
are two
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Mhm.
I didn't never have much to say about the water fund, but the debt service, it looks like we're pretty well done for the year, with the exception of one more principal payment on the looks like one more $8,000 payment or something on that.
Mhm.
But is that consistent with your records, Alyssa? This is for the debt service.
I think that payment was made in full. I don't think there is anymore. I think it was just a miscalculation on the spreadsheet that I was using to determine what the payment was going to be.
Okay, so we're done on that.
I do think, yeah, I think so. I'll check that out.
So the actuals is it, the 262, that's it?
I mean, I don't have my stuff here, but I think so.
Okay. And if you notice, we did put Kissel Hill under the adjusted budget, the 1.2 million, that show up on
Yeah.
that page
Mhm.
3 or 4. So,
That's just the revenue line. 1.2. Wow, somehow we have $195 expense. in
Charles,
there.
I think
Yeah,
that was a filing fee.
that's the
for-
file, okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, state needs something.
Get their kiss, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gotta let the beak.
So the balance sheet for the wastewater fund shows a deficit of, or due to of $3,600. So
Mhm. Mhm.
we've seen some big numbers there. So
Yeah, this is nice to see,
it'd be nice to have a positive, but
next year.
next
We're almost there,
year.
as we talked about, yeah, making progress, we're making progress.
So then we get to the revenue. This is I bring this up more than I probably should, but I realize, and we'll see it in the audit, but it seems like we're always short on the revenue from Walpole, right up to the last statement we see for the year. And then we start a new year.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like if we don't get the fourth quarter payment until the first quarter,
All
then
right.
we ought to be closer to budget, and we're at mid-year here, and we're well, 34%,
34%.
Yeah,
34, 31, and 29% funded. So it's, Alyssa, what I'd like to see is kind of a payment schedule. When do we actually get these 4 quarterly payments?
well, if
Because
it's quarterly, we don't even have the second quarter. It's more than a quarter, but it's not two. So,
that's
yeah,
right.
so what's the schedule for them to pay us?
Well, he has to do his
Right.
utilization, right? So he has to
Yeah.
come up with how much is actually processed, and then he has to go back and then apply it towards their percentages. So that's why there's always a little bit of a lag, and then at the last payment, he does a true up to make sure that everything
Okay.
is.
So at the beginning of January, my understanding is we would have received the first quarter. He's in the process of calculating the second quarter. So this,
Okay,
what we've got would be kind of like the first quarterly payment. And
okay,
again, based on utilization, it can be higher than 25%.
right, that's true, so, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
But anyway, just so that we have a better feel for when we get these funds.
What about the headworks bond? How does that get paid? That's right underneath it, it's a $34,000 for Walpole.
The next one down.
Well, I believe what he does with that one is because he also bills percentage on capital, depending upon other part, what we're doing. So that's just one of, I think he bills them for 4 or 5 different capital improvements.
But we haven't received anything on that.
No, not yet.
Does he actually bill it, or does he send it to Pam? And she-
No, he bills it. I go through it with him, and
Okay.
we actually send it. So Rob sits down with all the calculations for the
Wow,
utilization as well as,
you'd think that would be automated by now.
So what type of process is that? I mean, how
he
intense?
goes through he has to do his reporting, right? So he has obviously his state reporting, so he takes all of his numbers from there. And then he puts it into he has his own calculation spreadsheet. And then he tracks it.
I think you need something before there's a retirement on the horizon. In order to make sure that the complication of this calculation, yes,
Yeah.
is available as knowledge to the next person who's
Right.
going to have to.
It's a little convoluted on how it's done, but it's,
I think having Alyssa involved as just a backup or something is,
What do
would
you
be,
mean?
would be smart.
yeah. We'll sit down and go through it the next time. She'll enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm sure she will.
be exciting.
I am beyond excited.
I could see it in your box.
Yeah.
That's how happy you are in your box.
Color flashing screen, yeah.
I really didn't have much on the sewer fund either. The pension, we talked about the
Yep.
pension thing. The RMI contract, we budgeted 6,000 and we're at 6,300. I don't know if there are more payments coming there or what's happening there, but it's not a big number, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's down near the bottom of that page.
I can look into that. I don't recall anything off the top of my head, but that's,
There are, when they assist us with some things, there's extra charges for the time, is there not? Beyond
it depends on what it
basic
is.
need, yeah.
Right, I know we've been working with them on a couple of plant certification kind of issues, not necessarily related to sludge, so.
Okay.
But we're tracking pretty well.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any other questions? She has, we know that usually Jake takes up the lion's share of this, but then he pretty much covers the stuff that we're interested in. Okay, looks like we're good with that. All right, that will move us on to the review of agenda items for the next meeting. January 24, so we're talking about the trails, we're talking about the ARPA conversation.
Yep. We'll
Sorry.
have Vipta on there.
Yeah,
Betsy wants to
Vipta.
come. We'll make sure that we have the correct budget information in terms of how we're actually going to be dealing with the village meeting.
Yep, exactly.
So we'll
That's
update
definitely
that.
important.
I got an item to add
Oh, sure, what?
for the next one. Maybe we could get an update on the rehab of the gatehouse at Miners Pond.
Yes,
I know we talked about it like over a year ago, the
hasn't been much, but we can,
It's all right.
I know,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think
Well, there
so.
was an ad hoc committee that was.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I do recall something about a committee and then I think it died.
Well, then there was,
Oh,
Sort of a sad, slow death after that.
who the
It's the source of the manganese.
Oh, no.
Don't say that, it's in the name.
Elijah,
the historical guy.
Walter,
Yeah, he
Walter
was gonna,
Wallace, yeah.
I'll follow up
remember,
with
it
that.
was over a year ago. We
Yeah.
talked about all that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember
I
that.
remember a conversation, I don't remember what we
It'd just be nice to know where that stands, or if it's made any headway, or
okay.
what the outlook is for this
We'll add
coming
that
year.
in the
Have you
conversation.
been up there? Does it look any different?
Well, what made me think of this is I walked by it over the weekend.
Oh,
And it
okay.
doesn't look any different?
Doesn't look any better.
No,
needs a
but I got to
trustees
thinking, I
hearing.
said, geez, I remember we talked about that. That was an
Yeah.
item that we discussed over a year ago, and
Hmm.
they were trying to maybe get some funding or some donations or whatever, and
In order to
Volunteer.
rehab it, yeah,
because of,
yeah, happy
anyway.
we're done.
Okay, I'll follow up on that one, I'll add it to the list.
Let's see. Review agenda items for the joint board meeting, that's on 31st of this month. Very
We'll
last
be
day.
coming back to you with some tax sale updates,
Okay.
fire feasibility study. We're gonna talk about that at the fire equipment committee, which we just scheduled for Monday, the 20, whatever that date is. 23rd, I think it is. And then we'll have an update for the joint board. We have to do an update to our part-time sick time accrual, our personnel, so we'll talk about that.
Mhm.
That's all I had off the top of my list.
Yeah. Looks like, beginning conversation for union will be the end, starting at the end of the month.
Yes,
And,
I think we scheduled the
so
25th.
it's six?
It's a Thursday.
Okay, yeah,
So six, yeah.
so that'll be
26th?
stuff as we go along.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw your email. I said
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Let's see, review orders, bills and warrants, review and approve. We need a motion for that. And they're right here. Everyone
Move that
signed
We
it.
approve the warrants, bills, and orders, bills and warrants.
Hasn't been too long.
Second.
Okay, thanks. And all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thanks, Jeff. Let's see, we have no need for an executive session this evening. Other business, Scott,
No, all set.
wait,
The only thing I had was just to thank those who volunteered at the local fire department on Sunday to go around and pick up Christmas trees. Collected roughly, I don't know, 50 or 60.
yeah. If they just do it once, might be slow, I guess I'm taking it with the truck.
Yeah, I missed Sunday.
Yeah, they did it Sunday morning, went around,
Okay,
gathered them all
And then to the transfer station, to the recycling, or?
up.
I
No,
don't think so, no.
not this time.
I took my tree down there on Monday, and it was only one other tree down there, so
yeah,
Yeah,
that's not a problem there.
They will accept it.
well, that's good, because that's when I'm gonna have to go. We've been kind of extending Christmas each year a little
Yeah.
more. I mean, well, you know.
And you don't have to
a little
throw
more
away
joy.
those artificial trees, you know.
I've never, ever, I don't care how old I get, I'm never using an artificial tree,
I'm just a wise guy.
despite the fact I have to, you know, vacuum up all the needles.
But you can water them if you want.
Yes, we
And I
can.
do that, yes, yes. I do that. But that only lasts so long, so I guess it'll be a thought, yeah. Jason, did you have anything else further?
No, nothing.
Oh, Stefan.
All set, thank you.
All set.
All right, I just want to say, the temperatures are dipping, please try to be safe out there, a lot of accidents. My company's getting a lot of extra billing, because of pole accidents from people with poor tires, and improper speeds running into, electric poles and causing an outage, so, not just here, but everywhere, so please be careful where you travel, especially on the further northern elevations, sometimes the southern part, I had some issues on 123 in New Hampshire last week, so, temperature's not much colder than it's been, so try to be safe.
I think they said after tonight, it's gonna drop down maybe near zero, but it'll warm up next few days.
A few days, but tomorrow morning when
Tomorrow
traveling
morning,
will be dangerous,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, all right, so our next meeting is January 24th at 6 o'clock. Hopefully there are no computers, I have to listen to you guys.
No, let's hope.
All right, then, I need a motion to adjourn.
Do we have to?
You want to stay here?
No.
Did you bring lunch? No.
Motion to adjourn.
And a second?
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.